Obviously, a little home stretch for us here with 4 games. So Tennessee State Tuesday, Murray, Seattle, Kentucky Wesleyan. So obviously always one game at a time. At the same time, we're home here for these next 2 weeks, so we kind of have a day-to-day structure and routine as far as what's in front of us. And obviously spent last night and today getting ready for a pretty strong Tennessee State team tomorrow. So very important game for us. Obviously it was great to get a win on the road at Evansville on Saturday. So hopefully, I think in the second half we played pretty well. 2 straight games where I think we've kind of pulled away in the second half, so it's good that we've fought through some adversity and gotten stronger as the game goes on, and hopefully building some momentum that we can continue here at home tomorrow night.
All right, you guys, go ahead.
Thanks. Really good road win for you all. You talked about at the beginning of the year kind of wanting to see some more guys involved in that box score. How do you kind of feel about that performance on a Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think the 9 guys that played all played well. To be honest with you, Enoch Kalambe got hit in the head, neck early in the game, and then Jalen Jackson had a slightly turned ankle from Thursday in practice. So those guys, I felt like were both a little limited. They fought through it and tried. I thought the other guys really stepped up. I thought Leroy did a great job, off the bench, giving us 8 to 10 solid minutes. Obviously, Julius continued to play real well. It was good. I thought Braxton Bayless probably had his best game of the year, and that was good to see. I thought Don had a real good bounce-back game after the Marshall game. And obviously Baba played at a very high level. So, I thought a lot of guys played well. I thought the second half of that game we certainly played. We had stretches where we played as good as we have all year, so it was definitely good to see that.
What was Blaze's status in that game? What's it going through?
Blaze had Blaze's knee from late October has still been bothering him, so he had I guess what the right word to use is, he had a shot, for lack of a better word. I don't know if exactly it was a cortisone shot or something like that. He had that in his knee last week, and that's usually just 7 to 10 days of soreness after that. So Blaze just hadn't fully been back to being full speed and was getting frustrated with just his, how he was struggling to impact the game. So we took a different line of treatment here for about 7 to 10 days. So I would think Blaze will be out tomorrow night versus Tennessee State. I'd say questionable for Saturday. So just trying to get him some treatment and trying to get him some medicine it's just a bone bruise in his knee that's just lingered, and obviously he's had some leg injuries in his past. So just trying to get him healthy, with the goal being that by the time we hit our conference season, that he's the player that we intend for him to be.
Even with that, Blaze, trying to get back to being 100%, Leroy coming in different games and playing in, spur of the moment. What's his development been like? Like you said, 8 to 10 good minutes this past Saturday. How you seen Leroy kind of step up?
Yeah, Leroy is. Obviously, I've coached Leroy for a few years. To his credit, he always stays ready. He always works. He's a very consistent day-to-day person. He's improved day after day, month after month, year after year. I thought, obviously, his ultimate strength is on the defensive end of the floor and with rebounding, and I thought he did a really good job. He played about a 4-minute stretch late in the first half when we were kind of there wasn't a media timeout for about 2 or 3 minutes, and the guys were tired, and he ended the stretch by blocking a shot out of bounds that I thought was a big play. Got a couple good defensive rebounds. He's very unselfish on the offensive end. So to Leroy's credit, he's mentally and physically stayed ready and prepared to go, and I thought he played well on Saturday, and we certainly need him to be an important piece for us here these next few games.
Another big game for Baba. He was a solid player for you guys last year, but it just seems to me that he has a different level of confidence and assertiveness in his game this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that obviously last year, Baba and Rodney kind of, it seemed sometimes 50-50 split minutes, and and I would even say maybe slightly more towards Rodney. I think. And Rodney's a great player, professional basketball player, and I think that obviously as he's continued in the 6 to 7 months after the season, I would say Baba was as consistent of a worker as we've had. I think obviously he's been part of 3 very good basketball teams and has had good roles on those teams, but obviously this is the first year where he's probably been in as big of a featured role as he is, and that's a credit to him. He's earned that. He certainly has earned the respect of his teammates. He made a couple shots the other day from 3. He's worked on that. I know that sometimes when you haven't seen a guy do that in the game, and a guy like Baba steps out and shoots, sometimes I try not to hear any noise, but sometimes I hear get in the paint, and to his credit, he's worked very, very hard to be a complete player. He shoots the ball very well in practice and is in there every single day. So that adds a dynamic to our team. We've tried to move Baba around to different spots and really play to Baba's strengths on the offensive end, and I think that's allowed him to get some perimeter touches, some elbow touches, some post touches. I think Saturday was a good representation of what he can do in scoring in a lot of different ways. And that doesn't even mention guarding and rebounding, which he's continued to excel at. So his development and his progress has certainly been a major part of our success.
Talked about, down there having a great game after, not his best couple outings with Marshall and Kentucky, but, even in that Marshall game, he came in so clutch at the end with those free throws. So
Yep.
whether he's up here, down here for this team, how is he just always able to contribute on the court?
Yeah, he's, obviously he's a special player. He had a great week of practice after the Marshall game. I tell all these guys, I always want you to be a bigger factor or want you to play more, but if somehow it's not your day, then you have to handle it like a professional, and to Don's credit, he did that versus the Marshall game, and as you said, he stepped in and made 4 huge free throws late in the game to kind of close it out. He had his best week of practice leading up to Evansville that he's had in a long time, and I was very, very confident in him going into the game. When you have a 7-day stretch between games, a lot of things can happen. It's not like we stop playing Marshall and then we just roll the balls out versus Evansville. There's a lot in between. So I think Don found, I think he found his confidence. I think he was just staying in the moment, getting steals, getting assists, making the right plays, making the right shots, still being aggressive. I thought he had one of his more complete games of the year. So obviously, sometimes when you've had as much success as he's had, sometimes that can get taken for granted, but he for sure does not. He's an elite player, and obviously his consistency is a huge part of our success.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you all have played in some tough road environments already in this non-conference schedule. You still have a couple more to go before conference play starts. You've seen the team, gradually grow when you're playing in a tough environment and, kind of prepared for conference play when you go into these conference games.
Yeah, I think we've handled road games really well. I know technically our record's 1-2, but I thought we played pretty well at Grand Canyon. I thought we played pretty well at Kentucky. I thought we played pretty well at Evansville. So I think they're 3 of our better played games of the year. In both the Grand Canyon game and I guess for sure the Kentucky game, we didn't shoot the ball very well. Obviously, they had a lot to do with that, but I think those are 3 of our better, team, our togetherness, our consistency, our resiliency. I think we're pretty strong in all 3 games. So those 3 games have certainly served their purpose. Obviously, we have one more non-league game at Michigan, but man, we have 5 of our first 7 conference games are road games. So I guess that's we certainly do look ahead to the league. Obviously it's a very important time of year, and we are. I'm aware that we start with at Liberty, at FIU, and then after a couple home games, we play the other 3 I guess teams that are picked high in our league in La Tech, Sam Houston, and Middle. So, that's kind of the road stretch that we have to be ready for. And I do think that playing at Grand Canyon, at Kentucky, and at Evansville have helped prepare us for any situation.
For Evansville, you talked about that 7-day stretch. What did you find yourself really wanting to work on during that time for the team as a whole going into that game?
Just continuing to, on both ends of the floor, to kind of communicate and act as one. I think we've done a better job on the offensive end, moving the ball, making plays for others. I thought Braxton was very good in the Evansville game, and he was great in the 7 days up to the game at doing that. A couple times in transition, we'd rotate the ball from one side to the other and then get a driving lane. When they went zone, I thought we did a good job at making the extra pass and getting some good shots. So really just kind of functioning and communicating as one on both ends of the floor. We had been doing a lot of switching early in the season on defense, and teams are now have kind of some wrinkles in to take advantage of that. So sometimes there's plays where sometimes we are switching, sometimes we're not, and you have to communicate in the moment and trust your teammates in order to succeed at that. So I'd say that's kind of been the focus and will continue to be the focus, because every play in basketball is different. Like the same thing never happens twice. Even if you're 1 foot to the right, the spacing changes. So you never see the exact same play. So just trying to be in the moment, locked in together on both ends of the floor, and communicating and functioning as one unit is kind of what our focus has been. And I think the guys have been gradually doing better and better at that.
Just looking ahead to tomorrow night, what have you seen as Tennessee State?
They have a lot of talented basketball players. Obviously the guard, Weston, leads them in scoring. He's been at Seton Hall. He's been at Rhode Island. He's been on the floor at high levels. He's, 16, 17, 18 a game. He's a talent with the ball, kind of a downhill force. They shoot the ball pretty well. They have a lot of guys that shoot it. They've had some games where they've struggled to shoot it, but they shoot it with a lot of confidence. I think this is the wrong game to look at the percentages and say, oh, well, we can back off. No, I don't think that at all. I think we need to make sure that we bring the fight to them and that we make them a little bit uncomfortable. The big kid, Williams, who's their four-man, obviously has been at Tulsa. He's been in junior college on a really good Pearl River program. They're older, experienced guys that I think are getting better and coming together. They've been competitive, and even the games that they've lost, they've been with 10, 15 minutes to go in the second half, they're right there. So obviously it's a close game. They're coming right up the road, and I would think that they've had 10 days off, so I would think that they've gotten better from December 1st to tomorrow night as well. Obviously very well coached, so we'll definitely have our hands full and need to be ready to go.
Is this a team that's going to want to play with pace with you guys, or are they going to try to slow you down?
Yeah, they're up there in the country. Yeah, so I would assume yes. They're statistically on the year, their pace is top, I think 10%. I think we might be at 11 or 12 right now out of 363. They might be at 25. So that's one of the faster teams we'll play all year. So I would expect them to be. They've shown some different defenses in some road games to try to slow people down. So we'll be ready for everything. But yeah, statistically, they push the ball pretty good.
Julius had another good game off the bench. A lot of fans clamoring or wondering why he's not in the starting lineup. What's kind of your philosophy of he'll be the lead good scorer instead of he'll be in that starting lineup?
Julius is doing very, very good. He's off to a great start for sure. He's a huge part of our team. I think, it's when you put a team together, we have 8 or 9 seniors, and I would still, I think like I say, we work every single day, and Julius has been in college for 5 months, and some of these guys have been in college for 5 or 6 years. So Julius is still getting better every day. We've seen this since the beginning of June. I don't know. We've gotten off to pretty good starts in games. I thought the beginning of the second half for Evansville, we stretched it from down 1 to 55 to 41, so it's got nothing to do with Julius. Julius is a talent for sure. He's a special player. He's has the chance to be an elite player, and obviously we want him to continue to play well. So I think that sometimes I can't promise he's not going to start tomorrow night. If you didn't notice, I changed that up. I changed that up pretty good depending on what happens day to day. So. He's an important player for our team. He's done a great job. I guess in life these days, it's natural when you do good to always want more, maybe. I don't know. But man, Julius he's been very, very consistent. He hasn't had a bad game so far. So I guess what I would just say is it feels like something that we're doing is working. And when he does enter the game, with 15, 16 minutes to go, man, they're about 3 or 4 minutes tired, and I think that's helped him. Don McHenry gets a lot of attention. Bobby gets a lot of attention. So I think just how we have our rotation currently, I think it's helped Julius have some success. When he goes in the game, he's able to attack up. He was pushing the ball in transition the other day, and we could hear their whole bench yelling, he's pulling up, pull up, pull up, pull up, and then he pulled up and made the shot, and maybe the first possession of a game, teams are, you're physically and mentally a little more locked in. So, for certainly as his first year in college, I think just how our rotation has helped him have this start. He's an elite player. He's a special person. We think the world of him. And, again, I can't promise that he either will or won't start, but we'll do what's in the best interest of the team as far as playing time goes in any situation.
Just jumping back to Tennessee State. Coach Collins has some JUCO roots.
Yep.
Wondering if you have any history of coaching against him.
Never coached against him, but I've known him for a very long time. He was the head coach at Columbia State. Very, very successful. Made a couple runs in the national tournament. So he's a guy that when I was an assistant at South Plains, kind of still getting into this profession, he was a very, very successful junior college coach. He's as he went to East Tennessee and Illinois State, certainly I don't think I've ever had a player where he's been in Division I, but he's a guy that I've known for about 10 years. So obviously he's done a great job there. He's a great person, upbeat guy. That program's gotten better and better over the years. He's doing a great job, and certainly have a lot of respect for him.
Jumping back to one thing too, you'd mentioned talking about Donnie had a great week of practice. I was just kind of wondering what that constitutes for you, just in general. What is a great week of practice for you?
Staying, guys that no matter what we're doing, stay in the moment, they're locked in, they're not, I think in today's world, and not, I'll go back to the question about, quote unquote, a certain player start. Do you start? Do you score? Do you have the ball? Like how much? It's so easy to let your mind wander. And in today's world, everybody has an opinion about everything. So it's when you have a great week of practice, you're in the moment with our team, doing your job. You're being vocal. You're playing hard. You're going from one play to the next. If you're 0 for 4, you're still an elite defender on the floor. If you're 4 for 4, you're not getting lazy and complacent. So it's just kind of doing your best and being consistent and being locked in with your teammates and having a hunger to learn and to get better. We have 1, 2, 3.5 months left at this. Like if we're the same team in the middle of March that we are right now, we're nowhere close to being good enough, because everybody else is going to get better. So when you have a group of 8 or 9 seniors, as we do, sometimes older guys say, man, this is my last run. I'm going to enjoy this. Not necessarily just put your feet up, but a guy at 22, 23 years old, sometimes they're a lot less willing to grow and to learn and to change and to get better than they were at 18 or 19 years old. Sometimes guys think that, man, I've already done this. We've already been through this. And last year, our team certainly went through, we were a first-year group that came together from a lot of different places, and we worked really, really hard to get to where we got to. And sometimes when you make an NCAA tournament, you lose that chip on your shoulder a little bit. And so we've just tried to, I don't think that we have. I think our guys are playing extremely hard in the games and playing together and getting better. But I would say on a 7-day break between games, that's when all of a sudden sometimes you see guys that are thinking, man, when's the next game? Why do we have to practice? We've all seen the Allen Iverson press conference before. But he was a 30-year-old making multi-million dollars. We have 21, 22, 23-year-old people that are trying to keep getting better through basketball. And I think Don and Wu and Baba and Christian and Jalen and Braxton and Leroy and all these guys, I don't mean to leave anybody out, I think they're all future professionals. So, man, I want them to be, when they're trying to find a job playing basketball here in 5 months, I want them to look back on December 3rd and say, man, I'm way better than I was then. So, so we're just trying to keep growing and improving and staying locked into the process of what we're doing. And I thought Don, and I'll throw Braxton there too, I thought Don and Braxton were pretty elite the last 7 days.
Cool. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, guys.